We good? Welcome to episode 5
Yeah.
of our Alaskan Highway Sabbatical 2025. We are now here in Fairbanks. We've been here this is going to be our 4th night. That's huge because we haven't stayed somewhere that long.
For more than 3 ever.
So,
Yeah. And I think that's why we're making an episode on just the wonderfulness of this time. Fairbanks is a town. Whatever. It's not really much of a town, but that's okay because we haven't really gone out and done much because we've just enjoyed being still. So they were fishing on the Chena earlier today. We did go gold panning, but really it's just been about us getting our groceries, going to Costco.
Essentially resupplying and reorganizing before we go more into Alaska.
Yeah.
Especially since we'll be dry camping in Denali for 9 whole days.
Yeah.
So essentially the whole
me
time
luck.
we've been on the Alcan, we are going to be stationary in the wilderness.
Yeah.
So don't expect another video after this for a while because there may be service, probably not enough to get a YouTube video up, but there'll be signs that we're still alive.
Maybe. We'll try.
So.
No, but I think my whole reason of wanting to make this video is how important I realize it is. But like when your family goes on vacation, or like something that I think we've been missing out on as a family, is going to church while on vacation.
Yeah. I mean, that has been really huge on this trip. So one, we wanted to go to different churches on this sabbatical to not only like to get other ideas and see how other churches are doing things, especially rural churches and so forth. But I don't think we fully realized how important it was going to be
For
just
us.
for our overall.
And I know that's so dumb. Like when we say it out loud, of course it's good to be good, right? But like it is so good to visit these different churches and so encouraging. This last church in Fairbanks has been our favorite so far.
Well, technically it was in North Pole.
Oh, you are correct. In the North Pole. Anyway, such a healthy church. You could just tell walking in. We sat down and the whole room is just loud because everybody's talking. And it's just like this, it's not a huge, big mega church. It's a small church like ours and just full of chatter, full of friends. And it felt so good to be there. They were so welcoming. And
I would say at least a quarter of the church was on top of us as soon as we were in the door welcoming us.
They even like, once they figured out Blake was a pastor, the pastor made the joke that, his throat was going to be sore and he was going to call on Blake to finish the sermon or whatever. But it just was so nice, really, to just, I don't know, feel encouraged in that time, in these times that we've been at church. And I guess that's one thing that I think I've learned in this is like making church a priority even when we're not at home. Because I think the biggest thing for me is not only was it refreshing for me, my soul, but it also is teaching our kids how to go into an uncomfortable church environment and find a new home there. Because I'm thinking about like when they graduate from high school, go to college, that's a huge time where a lot of students drop off going to church because they're not comfortable going into a new church.
Essentially, we're teaching them how to
be comfortable in the uncomfortable of like visiting a new church, because it is uncomfortable,
and how to find a new church when you're in a new place,
how to look for the right church, because that's something we've been doing too. Like that's
been a really interesting process, because I've also kind of kept it in mind for me as a pastor too, what maybe we should be looking at for our own church, and what is causing me to be drawn to these different churches. So I did find early on that at first I was starting to be drawn to the facade. But what's interesting is that's what it is a lot of time, is just a facade, just the outside. Yeah. And then, because then I would go...
A fresh coat of paint will draw somebody in, though.
But really what it's come down to is their beliefs, what other people in the community are saying about these churches, listening to the pastor's previous sermons that he's posted online, things like that, and just kind of get a feel already before we step in.
And where are you finding all those things?
Honestly, I just been going on Google Maps, which has been way better than Apple Maps. I've been going on Google Maps, put in churches in the area, and then I just go through and just kind of start looking at all the things that Google has for all the churches in the area.
Yeah. And a lot of them have a really nice website with like clear beliefs and stuff. Because we've definitely seen that a lot of churches have a website, but they kind of have like wishy-washy beliefs.
They're vague or sometimes not posted at all.
Yeah.
Also, it's been interesting too. I find myself looking at the leadership team page too, and just seeing different bios too of the leadership, both deacons, elders, and staff at the churches too, just to kind of get a feel for it, because we have ran into some places where there are churches, but after looking into them, they're not a place where I'd want to take my family or kids into.
Yeah, I mean, like if we were just judging a church from the outside, we've almost taken our family to a few churches that would have not been very great.
It wouldn't have been.
But it has been, I guess that has been so good. So like in this time of slow in Fairbanks, like this is not a place that, I mean, the only thing I think I would come back to for this town is really in the winter for the Northern Lights. But
we can't see the Northern Lights at all. That's still messing with it.
It doesn't get dark.
We go to
ever.
bed. The light.
Fairbanks does not get dark ever. Like even when it says that the sun is set, it's still like twilight out. It's always light.
So the light, just the way it is when we go to bed, is the same light that's in the morning. So my body never knows if it's morning or night.
Yeah, it's 6:20 and the sun is still like up here. It's like you can't see.
It's bright.
Judge
it feels like 1:00.
Yeah,
like just after lunch.
Yeah, just after lunch is like where the sun's at. So that's so crazy. But I feel like we're getting better at that.
We are. Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing with this. And going back to why it's important to go to church while in different places is it helps set the rhythm, right?
Yeah, it does.
Because we wouldn't really know the days of the week.
No, we don't.
Without it.
Yeah.
We even missed it when we were still on the Alcan. There was no churches in some areas.
Canada doesn't have a lot of churches.
At least Western Canada, there was not a whole lot. Like, Ivanmore,
we didn't have any churches in the whole area where we were. There was no church for us to go to when we were there on a Sunday, which is crazy because like the minute you cross the border into Alaska, like there's back to back to having like a church in every block. But
there's a Chinook helicopter going. Yeah. They're by a bunch of air bases, so if it gets loud, that's why. But that also reminds me of something cool about the church we did go to. Yeah. 1 second here.
I don't know if it's going to get any better. Yeah. It's like right there.
So we went to Community Baptist Church in North Pole, which is like 5-10 minutes outside of Fairbanks.
Phenomenal church.
It is. But they have a really interesting community in ministry because they get a lot of the military personnel coming into their church because of the air bases and army bases here in Fairbanks. And so you kind of always have this group of people that are always revolving in and out of the church. Yeah. And so that has forced the church to get really good at being welcoming and to also what we've seen in only one Sunday, how good they are at
sending people out,
discipling, equipping, and sending them back out. Because on the Sunday we were there, they actually prayed over a couple that is being, they're ending their, I guess, would you say deployment here? And they're being transferred to Hawaii, which is great. Going from Fairbanks to Hawaii
is a tough spot for them.
But in that time, they were talking about how this couple, they came to this church, got connected, then they started a Bible study on base and brought in other people, and so started this cycle of equipping and discipling, and now they're going to be taking that to Hawaii with them as well, which is just really cool.
And they're not just leaving and like being like, oh, it's over, but because they've already discipled these other families, there's like 3 rows of fighter pilots and their families that are already invested in that church that are going to continue doing that ministry even though this couple is leaving. And like, isn't that just like the picture of what every church wants? Like that just it was really beautiful to see that being played out. And seeing them also recognize what that couple has been, how they've been ministering, and also blessing them in the future for their ministry.
Yeah,
to go
because
ahead.
the church spent a time where the church came around them, laid hands on them, and just prayed over them.
Yeah.
Everybody in the church, and the pastor closed it out.
Yeah.
And so it was just this beautiful picture of community, equipping, discipling, and sending out, which I think that's really the core of the church, or what it's supposed to be doing with its disciples and members. So again, like us as a church, our home church, that's what I hope that we get to do in the future. And we are seeing that happen.
Definitely.
But also just in those that aren't part of our church, you're in somewhere else, another town, city, what have you, to just be really investing in the people that you have there. And also when you see new people come into your church, jump on it.
Yeah,
be welcoming, create an atmosphere of community.
I shouldn't say nobody, because I have a sister that I think would like to go to church and be ignored, but but it's a community, right? Church is supposed to be a community. So like going in, sitting in your pew and not talking to anybody is like not the point. And if you're on vacation, take time to go to church, and you will be surprised how much it just blesses you and your family.
Yeah, it is. And like you said, like Community Baptist Church made us feel at home right away. Honestly, we're not. But if we were moving to Fairbanks, just after one Sunday, that would be our church.
Yeah.
So, and that came down to no, we're not. Can't deal with the dark for however long it's dark here in the winter. But it just came down to the welcoming, homey atmosphere, clear importance of community. Their centeredness on Jesus was very clear. Bible preaching, and the emphasis on discipling and equipping.
And Jesus-centered.
Yeah. Did I say that?
I don't know.
Oh.
But I just
we just really think it's important.
That's really important.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Well, that's kind of the end of this episode. Fairbanks, it was a lovely place to just recoup, but,
Specifically, okay, if you do come, we do want to say this. The Fairbanks Chena KOA.
Yeah.
Because there's another one. A friend of ours that we've made on this went to the River's Edge, and I think they wish they would have came to the Fairbanks KOA, which is outside of Fairbanks.
Because
it's
if
super
you
nice.
do the Alcan, you kind of end up here. You either end up here or Anchorage, and you almost need that time to like sit still for like a half a minute or 5 days to just like rest, I guess, because it is a lot to just drive that much that fast. So KOA, North Pole.
Yeah, North Pole.
The northernmost KOA in the world. So here we are.
They are this fantastic place. It's quiet. The staff has been really nice and helpful. They text us every time something's going on or the office are closing, whatever. And honestly, I think they would bend over backwards for us, which has been the case everywhere we go.
Yes.
Everybody's been super nice.
Camping community has been surprising to me, because we've made friends along the way, because we're all doing the same thing, and like people that are full-time camping like we are this summer, they truly watch out for each other, which has been really good. So
good. Community is important.
All right,
Don't
with
forsake
that,
your community.
we're ending it.
Yes.